Hi there guys, Chatot here and welcome back to another top 5 video. So guys, you voted once again. Thank you so much for voting and taking part. And it was a landslide for one particular type, and that was the fairy typing. The fairy typing, so relatively new typing, so this is going to be an interesting list considering I haven't really used a fairy type very much, so this will be an interesting list. But anyway guys, before I go on, I'm going to go and do this. This is just my opinion, guys. Like I say, it's all just sort of on the way that I've used the Pokemon in Nuzlocke and competitive, the way that it's designed, like I say, whether I like it or not, and also, like I say, if it's been in the anime as well, a little bit on the anime as well. But like I say, it's mainly my opinion. So if your Pokemon that you like isn't in this list, then it's not because I hate it. It's just mainly because I don't really hate many Pokemon. It's just there has to be a top 5. It has to be narrowed down. Also, guys, links in the description below with the previous types. And yeah, shall we get on with it? Number 5. Now, number 5 is a Gen 7 Pokemon. Like I say, most of these are going to be quite recent. And this Pokemon, I'm not sure about it. But there's certain things that make me like this Pokemon, and that is Chatot. Now, Chatot is a bit of a weird one. I mean, it's kind of like a nicer looking version of Shroomish, and I do like it. I do like the design of it. It's not, there's certain things I would change, but that's me. It's fairy grass, but it is really good in competitive. It is a very good wall. It's more a wall on the special side, but it can be a physical wall as well. It's really bulky. You can get toxic off, and it's got its own little special attack as well, which helps as well. But the main thing that does attract me to this Pokemon more than anything else is its Pokedex entry, which is, again, Sun and Moon definitely had some creepy Pokedex entries, and this one, Chatot, is no different. So, in Sun, it says, let me just check our Pokedex here, forests where Chatot live are treacherous to enter at night. People confuse its strange lights and never find their way home again. So what does Chatot do? Is it one of these horrible man-eating fungi that you see in the movies, which are like over-exaggerated? But yeah, it's not good. In Moon, it also mentions what it does to its prey, which isn't even, that's just worse. It emits flickering spores and causes drowsiness. When its prey slumps to sleep, this Pokemon feeds on it and drains their energy. That's not cool. That's generally a little bit creepy. A fungus that, yeah. So that's kind of why I like Chatot. I like a Pokemon with a bit of a Pokedex entry like that. But anyway, that's pretty much all I can say about Chatot, because I haven't really seen it in the anime, because I haven't really watched the latest one. But no, I think it deserves a spot on the list. Anyway, should we move on? Number 4. Now, number 4 is a Pokemon I've never personally used. I think I've ever used it once or twice whilst I was going through the game at the time. It's been used against me, but I think it's hilarious. And it looks intimidating, but it really, well, it doesn't look intimidating. It's the opposite, actually. And this is Klefki. Klefki is, when I first saw it, I thought Pokemon have definitely ran out of ideas this time, because literally all it is a glorified keyring. Look at it. The only thing, and why would you be scared of this thing? But you should be, because this thing can set up, and if it gets away with it and keeps doing it, it can mess you up big style in competitive. So it has the availability to get both both screens. So if it gets those up, then you're in a little bit of trouble. And the thing is, it's usually, like I say, it's a Focus Sash usually I've seen, but it's dangerous, because once it's got that up, especially if it's got light clay with it, which makes it extend over like 8 turns, then you're in a bit of trouble, because if you can't outlive that, you're not going to hit anything. Anything that's going to be like, which you would normally wreck, won't be wrecked, and yeah, the game will go into your opponent's favour. I've had this happen to me once, but I kind of knew it was coming, because I knew this anyway, even though it hadn't been used against me. And let's just put it this way, Magnet Pull is a brilliant ability. Oh dear. But also, I like its design. Even though it's silly, I like its little design, and I like how, like it says in the Pokédex entry as well, where it shakes its keys to be menacing and threatening. Who's going to be threatened by the shaking of keys? Not me. Also, it's nice to see its appearance in the anime as well, briefly, when in the competitions Serena had, because they were all about keys, and it held them for the competitors whilst they were competing. It was just a weird Pokemon, but I kind of like it. It's got this little quirkiness to it. Number 3. Now, number 3 I've used a lot of, but not in competitive, in the game. I haven't used it in a Nuzlocke. This was just through my own playthrough, and it's another Gen 6 Pokemon, pure Fairy type, and this is Florges. Florges I love to bits. I generally bonded with this Pokemon, and I was lucky. I think I got one with really good stats. That had just really naturally good stats. It's good anyway in competitive. It is bulky. It's a good wish passer. And this thing just rocked sharp, and I loved it, and it was just so pretty as well. And even the added bonus had the quirkiness of being different colours. Now, I had a white one, and I loved my white one, and it was just gorgeous. And it was just like something that I could rely on if I wasn't sure about something, because I'm still learning still to this day, learning the different things about fairy types, because I don't really use them very often. But this thing just helped me throughout the whole playthrough that I did. And it did go to the Elite Four, and it wrecked, and it got into the Record Hall of Fame. And it was just one of these mons that just, that I really like. It was in the anime as well, and it was like a blue one in the anime where it got confused a little bit. It was with Gudra in it, I believe the episode was. But that one was like a fairy with attitude, literally. It just had this sass about it, which I found hilarious. But anyway, that's the reason why it's number 3. Number 2. Number 2 has been knocking about for a long time, or at least for me. I've used it a couple of times. I've used it a tiny bit in competitive, but not much. And this is Togekiss. Togekiss, when it came out in Gen 4 to be evolved from Togekiss, I liked it. It was bulky, it looked cute, it was adorable. Obviously back then it wasn't fairy type, and it's recently been fairy, but I think that really works for it. It's cute, it's fluffy. I know it's a flying type, of course it's a flying type, well part flying anyway, because it's flying fairy. But it has a nice little mix of move pool, it's bulky, it's something that I always use, and it's just like, you're talking to someone who grew up with the original games, so I remember Togepi, and then it evolving into a Togetic. And I had my Togetic still, and then I evolved it into Togekiss, and it was nice to bring something from back then and give it some more bulk, because Togepi in particular, its first evolution, is an iconic Pokemon. It really, really is. It's been around since, well, the very beginning, nearly, and to give it in form like this, where it rocks sharp, and I like it. I love the design. It's just, there isn't really much I don't like about this Pokemon at all. And I'm thinking about using it more often, and I think I should. But yeah, that's why Togekiss is on the list. Anyway, guys, before we move on to number 1, what was your favourite fairy type? Is there something I'm missing from the list? Which one's your favourite? Why don't you go and type in the comment section down below and let me know what you guys think. Also, guys, don't forget there's going to be another poll for what next type's coming up, so go and watch out for that. And there's plenty of other things, of the other types to watch as well. And don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you guys know exactly when the next top 5 is coming out. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's go to number 1. Now, number 1 shouldn't be any surprise to anybody, really. Just because one of these is my mascot. I have a plush of this. And I think a lot of people love this Pokemon. And it's Gen 7. And that is Mimikyu. Mimikyu, I bet you're wondering, why didn't you put it in the Ghost? I like it more as a fairy than Ghost, because it is mischievous. And I like Mimikyu. I can see it behind me. I like Mimikyu for so many different reasons. When I first saw Mimikyu come out, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, because I was just thinking, oh, another Pikachu clone, really? But this one was different. It wasn't just a Pikachu clone, it was a Pikachu rival. And it had, I mean, in the anime, I haven't really watched the anime that much, but I know Jessie, I think, has got a Mimikyu to offset Pikachu, which I think is really, really cool. Also, like I say, I love its little story behind it, that it was sad and it just wanted to make friends, and Pikachu was really popular like 20 years ago, so it used merchandising and stuff for that to make its costume, so people would come and like be friends with it because it was just lonely. I just think that's so adorable. Its shiny is nice as well. Also, I use it a lot. It's got, in competitive wise, I didn't really use one in the main game, but I have one, I still use it in my team, which I use a lot. And thanks to its ability to disguise, you can do a lot with it, and you can torture someone with Mimikyu if you know what you're doing. It can hit hard. It has access to some quite nice moves. It has access to priority moves as well. And you can surprise somebody with Mimikyu, because there is different ways you can go about it too. I'm not going to go into that though, because you'll have to battle me and wait and see what mine's like. So I've got, well, by now I should have 2 of them. But also, like I said, Mimic is, I'll put a picture of Mimic somewhere. Mimic is basically a Mimikyu art that I did, and I liked it that much that I started using it as part of the mascot squad, because I have my main mascot and then I have sort of some that are off casts of that. And Mimic is basically a Mimikyu, obviously dressed as a Chatot and not a Pikachu. And there's also, that's the other thing, people have made so much art on Mimikyu disguised as other things, and I've seen quite a lot of them, and they're all adorable. They're all brilliant. So it just goes to show lots of people like Mimikyu, and there's so many different reasons why, and I can't put all of it into words, to be honest. I'm going to be really honest. But I just like it. I like its attitude. I like I say, its design and the way that it goes in competitive. And that's about it, guys. Right, guys, that is the top 5 fairy types. What was your favourite on the list? Am I missing one that you liked? Like I said, why don't you put it in the comment section down below? Also, in the description, guys, there's all of the different types we've done so far, so why don't you go and check them out? If you haven't quite got your Pokemon fix as well, guys, there's plenty of other things on the channel, as well as different games as well. Anyway, guys, I've chatted on enough as per normal, and I will see you in the next top 5 video. But remember, guys, chat on!